So Maharatha means great chariot warrior or warrioress. A great chariot warrior or warrioress. And the qualities that we're going to discuss today and then next week are all the forces of the soul. So these are going to be great 2 weeks. Then after that, we're going to be looking at the opposing forces to the soul. So the energy might shift a little bit as it gets up close and personal. And we're going to learn to detach from that a little bit when we see, whoa, I'm so that, versus what we're going to discuss today. But obviously, where we want to put our attention is on these qualities today. And so what Maharatha means, great chariot warrior, is that each of the qualities that we're going to discuss today are the principal figures in the Bhagavad Gita. They're the principal warriors. They're the ones that control the armies of consciousness and of light and energy in your chakras. All right? They're the 5 Pandava brothers. They're the ones that are in your 5 chakras from your root all the way to cervical. All right? And then we'll look a little bit at who's in. Well, you already know from last week. You have the palace where King and Queen Soul lives, where Krishna lives, who is really, in the Gita, you'll find out, is all of it. It's Lord, it's the soul, it's intuition, it's the Christ consciousness, it's the Guru instructing you, the disciple Arjuna, who is still kind of maybe still got a few hang-ups in identifying with this realm, duality, still maybe energy's not quite governed and controlled yet and brought into the spine and up the spine and those kinds of things. So those 5 brothers, though, are the great chariot warriors, which means there's a little asterisk and a little footnote at the bottom of one of the page that you're going to, not this one, but the one you'll be reading at home. But I do have it as your first quote underneath the verses that we're going to discuss today and next week. But Maharatha denotes one who is highly skilled in the science of battle, commanding thousands of men, and able single-heartedly to fight 10,000 archers at one time. Whoa. That's why I had you pronounce that power that you have within yourself as Maharatha. These qualities that are in your causal spine, the Pandava brothers live in your causal spine. And we're going to understand this anatomy today, because in just a sentence, Yogananda said, in these verses 4, 5, and 6, he said, we can't go on. We can't go on with this yogic science until you have an understanding of the basis of yoga, which we get to discuss today, which is kind of the anatomy, not just physical anatomy, but it's the astral anatomy and the causal anatomy. And we really got to understand which one comes first. Do you think the physical does? Yeah, but why are you giving it so much attention then? I set you up for that. No, but isn't it true? It's the least thing real about us. It's inert. In fact, the whole part of the delusion of this manifested worlds is that anything physical is the delusion. It's just the objectivization of spirit, manifested like frozen solid. It seems so solid, but so does ice, right? And it heats up a little bit, and that what you thought was so frozen turns into water. And if you still heat it, it turns into vapor. So look at what we think is so solid. Nothing is solid in the universe. Science has already proven that. And yet it's hard, isn't it, for you and me to put our attention on anything but this physical realm. And not just your physical bodies and the sensations, but your thoughts, right? And not just your thoughts, but they're totally in cahoots with your feelings and vice versa, right? They're quite a team. A feeling comes up and then boom, these monstrous thoughts or good thoughts come up. From a pure feeling will come beautiful thoughts. From an old issue or something will come up that whole Pandora's box of not so positive thoughts. We're neither of those. And even consciousness, there's a state higher, and that is spirit. But we'll gladly work towards pure consciousness, you and I, because that's much higher than your thoughts and feelings and your physical sensations, is pure consciousness, which is your causal body. So Yogananda says we're not going to go further until we have this understanding. And also that what we're going to be discussing today, and quite frankly, probably predominantly in the Bhagavad Gita, it's this metaphysical battle, which assumes or presumes that you and I are really working on the two other battles before we can, well, the material today is the metaphysical battle. So basically the Gita is so deep, it's so deep, it's so of the soul, so of your inner bodies, it's so of the inner world, that it's, some people say, well, then I'm not ready for the Gita. Nonsense. Because the whole point here, and this is in your reading too, where Yogananda says science will look at what's on the surface and try to dissect this flower and try to get down to the root and the truth of what makes this flower, what makes this body, what makes your mind tick, what makes the stars twinkle, and all those things. But they'll look at the objectivization or the manifestation, which is the illusion, because all form is the illusion, and try to work their way back. But yoga says no. No, we're going to go right to the cause. We're going to go right to the cause. We're going to go to spirit, and we're going to work our way from spirit out to the outer manifestation. And that's why you don't need to know anything about it. You can be a total beginner, and just the inflow of this wisdom into your causal body, into your astral body, into your physical body can change you forever and forever. This Gita is, Krishna promises this. And towards the end of the Gita, he says, just holding the book, just listening to these passages, just to be sincere in heart can change you. So don't get stuck in the fact that you're just starting out with what is the first battle, which is the moral battle. The moral battle. Good thoughts, bad thoughts. Good actions, bad actions. Of course we're all there. So what? That's the moral battle. And then the second battle is the psychological battle. And that is, well, do I meditate today? Can I sit and practice and be okay with the resistance, which will be there for a long, long time, it seems? Or long or short according to your karma and according to the sincerity and devotion of your heart. Verse says, getting pulled out and just being restless. So that's the psychological battle. The moral battle, good thoughts, good actions, bad actions. And the psychological battle of the, well, am I able to be more steady in my meditation, or am I getting more restless in life? Am I finding more excuses not to show up to my soul? Okay, so that battle's going on. Today, we're going to look at the metaphysical battle, which is really close to the cause. But it's really important that you and I maybe start to shift our attention to the cause more. I'm telling you, that's why all my yoga classes are from the soul out, inside out yoga. Because I know the benefits of just, remember that truth I told you just in the beginning of this today? Where if you align to the divine, everything comes to you. Yeah, don't let your mind get in the way and say, well, I don't understand. You love first. You love first and have faith first. In fact, I think that is so beautiful, because blessed are those who don't see and believe. For such is the way that we will find our way back to the kingdom of God. A lot of people will say, well, show me. I need to have the experience and then I'm in. But really, really, the way, if you want to burn up and work through a large chunk of your karma, and the way that we can grow fastest and develop our spiritual muscles in faith, is to not have any experience. Not have anything. You're going on total faith of your soul, because something deep inside of you rings true. Even if it's far distant little voice deep inside of you, you follow that. And you hold on to that with your faith. That is the jet airplane home to the infinite. Okay? So maybe that's some of you might be there today. And so, but we're going to discuss, how spirit descended. And we're going to look at also the ascending. And quite frankly, your homework this week is to do both. As I've given you some exercises where you're going to go up and down. Doesn't matter, ascend, descend. In fact, it's great to go both ways. In fact, it's beautiful to go both ways, which is really when you discover pranayama or life energy and you start moving it up and down your spine. You're going to move it up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down your spine. Now we're going to learn today that you have not one, not two, not three, but four. Yes, four. Four spines in one. Yes. Right? And like the commercial of old, you might say, I'm a physical spine. And some of you might, no, I'm an astral spine. And some of you might say, no, I'm a consciousness spine. And some of you might say, no, you're all wrong. I'm a soul. Right? But in that commercial, the Certs commercial, I'm a candy mint. No, I'm a breath mint. No, you're not. I'm a candy mint. No, I'm a breath mint. And then finally the thing goes, clink, clink. You are two. Yes, two mints in one. So now you'll always remember that at the very finest part of you, at the very let's say this, okay, we'll look at an embryo. So sperm and ovum come together, right? And there's a flash of light, and that's when Yogananda, and there's going to be lots of ways that people will say, when does the soul enter the body? Well, I go with the way my guru says, but I don't make anyone else wrong about when they say the soul arrives in the body. But at that moment, there's a flash in the ether, soul comes in. Remember, as I said last week, no soul, no body? Or I said it this weekend in yoga. I get it mixed up where I was. But no soul, no body. No tiki, no washi. Right? Yes. So that soul comes in first at that flash. And then from that, there's just like within days, literally, a neural cell is developed. And in that neural cell comes the spine and the brain. Okay? Of this little tiniest God particle, let's say, of this God conscious, individualized spirit called a soul comes in. I mean, it's so small. Something so infinite has become so small and manifest, but it holds the potential, one with the infinite spirit. That's your soul, okay? And your spine and your brain and your chakras are first things that form. But the first thing that forms is not the physical. Underneath that is so here's the grossest, and hidden underneath this is a finer body called your astral body of light and energy, and your astral spine that holds the consciousness of light and energy. But there's a finer body hidden in that one, and that is your causal body, which is pure consciousness. It's a current of pure consciousness. And you have an astral, two spines, one physical spine, and then this causal body is a spine, but it's not even of light. Your astral spines are made of light. Your causal spine, called the Brahmanadi, is a current of consciousness. And it's the finest thing of all, that just is a very thin layer around this pristine, formless, infinite, immortal soul. Very fine. It's pure consciousness, bliss consciousness, bliss wisdom. And all the cells of your causal body, the one that's closest to your pure soul, which is beyond all form and all bodies, right? But since we're in a manifested creation, then we have the soul encased in this thin-like, beautiful wisdom, bliss body, the causal body. And every cell, from the causal brain is cosmic consciousness, ever new, ever existing, ever